Hello YouTube and welcome back to my channel, Ask the Immigration Attorney. Today we're going to be going over a bona fide marriage and what evidence you can support in order to prove that. Mainly when you are submitting a family petition such as an I-485 or an I-130, you are really trying to prove that your marriage is legit, meaning that it is not fraudulent. A lot of reasons why I-130s are rejected or why you are sent to an I-130 interview is because you have not provided sufficient evidence to support a bona fide marriage. This means that USCIS is basically trying to test whether you are just getting married for immigration purposes and benefits. It's called a green card marriage. You don't want to be able to do that. So basically for my clients, I provide lists of what I think that they should provide in regards to evidence. I give them long lists because sometimes they haven't lived together, sometimes they don't have the right kind of statements. So I really want them to be able to provide at least 5 to 10 documents to be able to support the sufficient bona fide marriage. So I'm just going to be going over a list that I have that I provide my clients that I think will be helpful for y'all. Bank statements. You're definitely going to want bank statements. If you're married, it's more likely than not that you guys are usually spending money on each other or together. 401ks. If you've been married for a while, chances are that you are on each other's 401ks as a beneficiary, etc. Credit card statements. Credit card statements usually joint in your name. If you don't have joint credit card statements, it's a good idea to get them together. Life insurance policies, typically for one person, if they're working for a company that offers one, they would name their spouse as a beneficiary or their child under the policy, so that should be sufficient enough as well. Leases, bills, mortgage, any kind of living expenses where both of your names are on that piece of paper. There is no point in submitting utilities or expenses thereof when it's only one of your names. I get this a lot. Auto registration. So if you have joint registration or if both of your names are on it or somehow both of you are linked on that piece of paper, please submit it. Affidavits. This is important. So when it comes to affidavits, you want it legible, you want it translated if it's not in English. Make sure that you get it translated. If not, make sure that your attorney translates it. That's usually, a provided service, especially with my company. You are going to want it signed and dated. Make sure it is legible. Just try to get them to type it. Make sure their signature, though, is a written signature as well as their date. I would typically want like 5 to 10 affidavits of this. And another piece of evidence that I usually don't include, but I want people to start including, especially if they're insufficient in like joint statements, are memorabilia from different events that they've had together, significant events such as weddings, birthdays, the birth of their children, any kind of pictures they have. This includes gift receipts where one of their names might be on it, giving a gift to the other, wedding gifts, wedding registries, photographs, honeymoon proof, etc. And this includes travel. So outside of just wedding related information, if you are traveling together on any kind of vacations and you have pictures on Facebook, Instagram, WhatsApp, etc., I want proof of that. Wills or trust. This doesn't always happen with my brand new clients for I-130, but my clients that have been married for a while and are at least responsible enough usually put each other on their wills or their trust. I haven't even gotten to my own will, so if you have, please include it. Basically, any kind of photos, anything to indicate that you two have been together in something significant. But really, outside this list, any kind of document which indicates both of your names on the same piece of paper. So if your child is in school and you both have to sign something for them, that's sufficient enough as well. So don't stress out if you don't have any financial documents that have both of your names on it. So that's it for basically sufficient documents to support a bona fide marriage. Here are my red flags that I also give my clients. A large disparity of age. So if y'all are like, at least 15 to 17 years apart, that's a red flag. This is just what USCIS is supposed to look for. So, make sure if there is a large disparity of age, be prepared to explain it and to make up with sufficient evidence that I listed prior. Inability of petitioner and beneficiary to speak each other's language. You know what? I know I said this, but I've actually This has actually not been that huge of a problem for a lot of my clients because they are learning the language with each other, and they fell in love knowing just a little bit of the language in order to communicate, and it's been, you know, it's been sufficient for them, but make sure to at least try to learn or prove that you're learning. Vast difference in cultural and ethnic background. I also don't think this is a huge problem, but just could be depending on the officer and who's reading it. Marriage arranged by a third party. This typically happens in some other cultures. So if it's arranged by a third party, they might think that, you know, you didn't fall in love. This isn't bona fide. It was, you know, arranged possibly for a green card reason. But, you know, I've also been able to overcome that with a lot of cultural evidence as well, where, you know, arranged marriages are actually really normal, and it's because they want a bona fide marriage and they want a family union, and that's typically not a reason to deny a I-130 based on fraud. So, discrepancies in statements on questions for which a husband and wife should have common knowledge. This would only happen in an I-130 interview, or, you know, later on in your final immigrant or non-immigrant visa interview, or K-1 fiance visa interview. So this happens when, you know, I'll go over this in my next video on interview questions, but you really have to know each other pretty well. This means your favorite color, each other's place of birth, basic dates that you should already know, like birth dates, marriage dates, how many siblings, where they went to school, what they studied in college, what languages they know, what's their favorite food, etc. Really know each other like the back of your own hand. No cohabitation since marriage. This can be valid, can't. I mean, I don't know. Most of my clients actually don't live in the same country, and they've just fallen in love online, and we make it work. So make sure you have a good enough attorney. Beneficiary is a friend of the family. So, I mean, if your parents have a relationship with them prior and that's how you all united, I mean, they could try to see that if that's a problem, like maybe that might be an indicator of fraud, but I think this is pretty hard to overcome. But I've seen this before, so I had to say it. Petitioner has filed previous petitions on behalf of aliens, especially for alien spouses. This is a very hard one to get out of. I mean, if you're a petitioner and you tried to petition for, you know, a previous alien spouse, didn't work out, you petition for another alien spouse, it makes you look bad. It makes it, you know, but it's, again, it's not something that we can't overcome. All you have to do is have sufficient evidence for a bona fide marriage. So if you've run into any of these disparities, just know that this alone will not, you know, render your application fraudulent or justified for a denial. Make sure that you just have enough bona fide marriage evidence to be able to support it. Whatever attorney you're working with should be able to, you know, sufficiently put your I-130 together before it gets denied. I mean, if you have an attorney and it's getting denied, that's a problem. It's not very, you know, difficult for an I-130 to get approved. It is more difficult for it to get denied. That means you just put little effort into providing sufficient bona fide marriage evidence. So yeah, that's about it. I know I've gone over various different applications, especially when it comes to I-130s and I-485, I-864, but this is specifically more for an I-130 and maybe K-1 fiance visa applications. So that's going to be it for now. Thank you guys for watching. Again, my name is Kathleen Martinez. I'm the managing attorney at Martinez Immigration. I'm going to link my website down below, as well as my email, my Facebook, Instagram, etc., all that. I represent people who can't afford a typical attorney. I'm a virtual attorney, and the caveat of being a virtual attorney is that I provide 24/7 communication. So if you want to hire me, I am communicating with you 24/7. In the middle of the night, go ahead and text me and I'll respond. So if you want an attorney who actually calls you back and doesn't just take your money and also only offers flat fees, go ahead and send me an email and we'll see how I can help you. Thank you for watching.